Hello everyone and welcome to Silent Hill F. Today we'll be doing ending 4, which is supposedly the true ending. Those are all the requirements that we need to meet that ending condition. So I'm just going to go into my New Game Plus, my most recent one that I did. Turn down the action a little bit because I want to play Lost in the Fog again, but I do love the puzzles. And they're usually different for the ending, so I'll leave it on Lost in the Fog.
Hey, did you know that when a girl grows up, she has to get married? It's her job.
It's not a job. Don't you want to get married, Hinako?
I don't know. Maybe not. It doesn't sound fun when Daddy talks about it.
Kind of like homework, huh?
If he tells me I have to, then I don't wanna.
Thanks for waiting. Junko, did something happen? Just reminiscing a little. About, when we were kids, you always looked out for me. Hinako, Here, this is for you. It's beautiful. Thank you.
It's settled. We will decide everything from here on.
But dear, what about how Hinako
We're
feels?
never gonna get another chance like this. What could possibly make Hinako happier? Nothing. Where do you think you're going? We're not done here, young lady.
But still, who would have guessed that Hinako would?
She's going to do as she's told for once and help me pay off this debt. We won't have to worry about money ever again.
Darling, please, keep it down. Hinako will hear you.
Alrighty, getting back into the gameplay. I'm gonna try not to talk during any of the cutscenes as best I can. A few things that I wanted to point out with that opening cutscene is that we meet Junko, Hinako's sister, gives her a bell. That kind of is important later on. You hear that every time she enters the room. Another thing is in the family picture, you could see that Junko is wearing a certain outfit, kind of like a white cloak with a hood. That is another thing that comes into play later on. It's kind of this amalgamation that Hinako sees herself as later on. Right now I'm just going through and reading some of the more lore-based items. Every time you go through certain areas, you kind of get to see new information. And so this is just talking about the Fox marriage. In the previous ending that I did, we saw this animal that we learned is later Hinako's arranged marriage. If you haven't watched those endings yet, I would suggest going through those to understand the story a little bit more. It is definitely very interesting and a worthwhile watch. So just going through here, kind of looking around. I'm a very detailed person, so hopefully you're not bothered too much by how kind of violently I move back and forth looking for secrets.
Landslides blocked off the path. Used to climb up there.
So that's just kind of talking about the landslide. That note that we got was describing briefly about these kind of natural disasters that are occurring, which is related to the faith of this specific town. So right now we're just walking through Hinako's house, where her parents live. She's obviously very upset because her dad has decided to give her away in order to pay off his debts, which again in the other endings we find out is because of just his irresponsibility, drinking habits, things of that nature, and so Hinako is having to be the solution to his problems. So just going through here, there's really not too much going on at the beginning of the game. It's mainly just to kind of understand the game mechanics. So I don't have anything to enshrine yet since I just started playing, but these are the upgrades that you could do. And so I've already maxed out health and stamina. Alright guys, sorry about that one. My mom walked in for a second. So getting back into it, this is right after we saved. So that's one of the many magazines that we see around the town. It's basically just saying the perfect woman, the perfect housewife, and it's everything that Hinako does not want to be. It's something that she fears because she knows that is what she's being married into and being made to do. In this specific area, it is only unlocked after you've completed the game once. This is one of the many puzzles to get specific items that you need to offer in order to get the sacred sword, which we will get later on in the game. We see a lot of these locked chests. It just says that we need a key, and so the essential part of this area is to really look around and try and find this key that's going to unlock the chest. What I'm picking up now as well is called a rear, and it's just something to increase my health after taking damage from enemies. Again, another women's magazine. More women's magazines, very kind of stereotypical interests of women. We see that dress that also appears later on in one of the endings. I believe it was the second ending. And here's where we get the balcony key. So we're going to use this to unlock the next area. This is pretty much a very easy part of the game. Again, it's just trying to get you used to the game mechanics, looking around a little bit more. In the first playthrough, it wasn't as intense with looking around, looking for secrets, looking for lore. And in the later endings, you definitely have to be very thorough in searching around. So now we have the actual key to unlock the chest. The balcony key was just to simply get into this area, but now we can actually use the additional key to go through these individual chests. So it's presumed that these letters are from Shu, Hinako's best friend, and it kind of just shows more of how women are viewed, how they're fragile, and you have to be very gentle with them. And so it's a treasure hunt that Shu made up, and he wants Hinako to be involved, even though she supposedly should not be because she's a girl. And it's just to say that he treats her differently, in the sense that he doesn't treat her like a girl, he just treats her as another kid. Okay, so now that we've gone through each of the chests, we see that this is the treasure. In the second playthrough, the second ending, and this is just me going through, just verifying that I got all of the items that I needed. But in the second playthrough, the second ending, instead of it being a chocolate, which is a sanity increase, that's another part of the game that you have to be very focused on. And so that chocolate was instead a statue, and that statue was the first offering to begin obtaining the sacred sword. So later on we'll see the specific statue that you have to offer that very specific item to be able to get one of 5 objectives completed to obtain the sacred sword. Alrighty, after a quick save, we are back on the road. And so now we're just going to go down into the actual town itself. First, I want to check out this one
Holy
secret
Mary,
area.
Sama. The fox gods enshrined all over the place.
So we're beginning to see how involved these sacred foxes are throughout the town. It's the predominant faith,
Yes, everyone.
and so they are
What about
essentially
Chizuruya? Maybe you'll find someone there.
they're essentially worshiping these foxes, and so that's why they have a lot of statues throughout the town, and we'll see many more of those throughout the game. Again, I'm going to try my best not to talk over any of the commentary. This is the statue that I was talking about earlier. So as you can see, the item has already been offered at the foot of the statue, and so that has already been initiated to get the sacred sword. Again, this area is fairly barren, not really too much going on. It's supposed to more so be an introduction to the game.
Excuse me? Is anyone there? Better find another way.
Now that we've learned that road is completely blocked off, we gotta find another
I
way.
remember there was a shortcut up ahead.
So now this next part is very interesting. I picked up on this the first time that I played it, but the specific commentary of these women. Didn't realize my camera was gonna shut off, but as I was saying, this commentary is very important.
From what I heard, it was a fox that spirited her away. All the family defenseless. One curse like going out on us. Someone's going to hear you.
So that is kind of hinting towards the fox's wedding and this kind of spirited fox and the mysteries of this faith. A lot of lore talks about this later on, so I won't get into it too much.
You traitor!
Sakako.
Where are you off to? Don't usually see you around here.
Truck was blocking the road.
Chizuruya?
I just want to talk to someone.
I'll be there in a bit, okay?
See you.
That's always been very interesting to me, that very brief conversation. It seems like with that specific character, Sakako,
Where'd the driver go?
it's almost like Hinako is either viewing her in a certain way, or something is making her view Sakako in a different way to almost turn her against Sakako. It's not really a direct answer to that, but as the game progresses, you can start coming up with different theories. That's something that I've definitely thought of, why it seems so contrasted in a sense, to where she's so nice and all of a sudden she's like, you traitor, it just doesn't quite make sense. It's almost like something is trying to be forced into her head to perceive Sakako in a certain way.
It's Shu.
Hey, partner.
Shu. Say something.
What about you? Nothing you want to say?
If you don't have anything, neither do I.
Oh, that's my Hinako. It's not like you to just let stuff happen, though. But whatever you end up choosing, you know I'll always be there for you.
Shu. Shu, thanks for waiting. And Hinako, too. Rinko, what were you guys talking about? Nothing, really.
She said that she just wanted to talk to someone.
It helped, too. Oh. Glad to be of service, ma'am. If I had known you'd be here, I would have brought that magazine you lent me. Oh, you can hold on to it. I knew I wasn't getting it back when I lent it to you. What's that supposed to mean? What do you think you're laughing at? You've got something of hers too, don't you? Right?
Wait, did I borrow something? Hey, Hinako, do I get to hold on to the 500 yen I owe you too?
What happened to paying her back with interest?
I never said that. You can't prove I did.
Okay, that does it. If I lent you something, you're signing a contract to give it back.
Don't be such a meanie. Hinako?
Sorry. What?
You tramp.
Now we're essentially just trying to get away from the fog monster. This is a very interesting game mechanic. I really like this the first time I played through. I really see the town just starting to change, starting to be overtaken by this mysterious fog and these flowers. A lot of this is again just to get used to the game mechanics. And now you start to wonder, just seeing all of this, is this her nightmare like the other Silent Hill games where you kind of see your worst nightmares, it's personal for everyone, or is this actually happening? Is this the origin of the fog? What's really started it So what this is really revealing is the medication that Shu gives us, which we learn in the third ending, is that essentially Shu is trying to have us have these like revelations to say she does not want to go along with these arranged marriages, and so these red capsules aren't really for her headaches. They're more so to kind of face her inner self, quote unquote. That's how it's kind of described in a lot of the notes that we see throughout the games. It's also good to note that, like I said before, that kind of bell sound is representative of Junko, Hinako's sister. And so she's still wanting to help in these phases of the game, but we'll later see that she starts to turn, almost like something has overtaken her. Usually when I pick up a weapon, it means that there's an enemy nearby, so it's always a fun one.
What is this place? I need to get back to Sakuko.
In a lot of these first couple areas, you'll see me pick up the red capsules and then later discarding them. One of the requirements for the fourth ending is to not take any red capsules. Sometimes I mistakenly pick them up because I'm trying to rush through it, and that's just to make sure I don't accidentally take them, because I don't want to ruin the ending by doing a silly mistake by taking one to increase my health on accident.
Is that you, Shu?
I also really appreciate how kind of long that section was. It's a very smart loading screen area.
Shu! Ringo!
Again, sorry for the very kind of harsh cut. My camera's a little bit older, so sometimes it stops recording. This is the first monster that we come in contact with. Just a couple things to note is the weapon here is a kitchen knife, and it's almost like a porcelain doll figurine. Obviously with the longer hair, it's also supposed to represent a woman, and so it's feeding into Hinako's worst nightmare of becoming a housewife, of becoming just another ordinary girl. You can again see those fox statues as well. They're quite literally everywhere. Another enemy coming up, slightly different hair, but very similar kind of figure. And again, she's got that kitchen knife. Mistakenly grabbed one again. I promise I'll get better at it later on. It's unfortunately just a bad habit where I go pick it up and then start running again. Now this area, there really isn't too much going on, but you can very easily miss this secret. And so going into here, it's this little hidden area, and so as you'll see coming up, I get a little bit of a reward, and then also we get this radio announcement. So off the top of my head, I cannot remember the difference between the first one that we hear and then this one. I believe that they are different. The first time that I listened to it, it was in relation to the UFO ending, and that's a whole other playthrough. But this one is essentially saying that all of the routes are blocked off and you are pretty much trapped in this town for the time being. Usually the game likes to hide these little trinkets everywhere, so I like going through and making sure I collect everything, like another red capsule. Okay, and once I've kind of investigated, oh! Those enemies really don't just pop out of the head and scare me to death. What I'm usually trying to do is I'm hitting core 2, which is one of the bigger hits, and that sometimes stuns the enemy and allows me to kind of get those lighter hits in. But sometimes it does not stun them, and then you can see me get hit. But I promise I'm getting better. I think. I hope. More statues to the right. And then this is just the map. Just wanted to verify that I've gotten all the areas. As we'll see later on. Oh, look at that, I'm learning. As you can see later on, the map will get, oh wow. God, it's crazy. I'm still getting scared even though I'm editing this. I'm not immune, even after I've played through this like 3 or 4 times. It never fails to scare me. As I was saying though, the map gets considerably bigger as we continue to play. So there's a lot to explore. Much of this area is just an item grab, but it's still really cool just to see the very small details that the game developers put into this. And again, I picked up a red capsule. I was mistaken. I did not learn from my mistakes. Back here was something that I missed on my initial playthrough. Just another magazine, just further emphasizing that a good wife, a good mother. But this area back here I completely missed my first playthrough. Definitely gives us a little bit of of an added bonus for looking around a little bit more. Not like The Last of Us. A majority of the time, these drawers are empty. Obviously, it depends on the difficulty that you put the game on. With it being hard, I believe that the items spawn slightly more. Oh, there you go. See, I'm learning. But it is definitely still very bare. These parts are pretty nasty. But now we have the key. Fortunately, I forgot that there was an additional key that I needed before that one, so I'm gonna go grab that now. Absolutely horrible in this section. Continuing to get caught in the door. But that's okay. A lot of the times you'll see those kind of red outlinings on the enemies, and that is pretty much their weak point. That's when you want to hit them with R2, because that will give you some point damage. You'll see me miss out a lot because I have terrible reflexes, so I apologize for that in advance. This is quite easy to miss if you are just running through here and going through the door, but this key is now what we use to access the back door. In the last playthrough that I did for ending number 2, instead of an offering, it was an additional pendant. I forget the exact name of it, but it's something that you can apply for additional benefits. So, for example, one that I have is increased health. Another one is decreased stamina taken from sprinting in battle, which usually I try to do more while I'm trying to run away from enemies, so that's definitely been very helpful. And then I have 2 other ones. So what Hinako is saying this isn't good to is my weapon, which is clearly quite bent out of shape. So I am in need of either a new weapon or a toolkit. And so toolkit is one of the most essential items. It allows you to, as the name implies, as the name implies, fix your weapon. So instead of having them break and then needing a new one, you can repair the weapon partially. And so I unfortunately have to skip past this enemy because my weapon is about to break, and there is unfortunately no punching in this game. So the only other option is running. So as I was saying before, these offerings, each one is worth a different amount. I believe the highest one is 500 gold. But what this does is it contributes to faith when you sell them, and those are the upgrades that you can do. So we're going to do a quick save, and then we're going to continue on. I love saving Always a good thing. I've gotten quite far in this game, and then all of a sudden something comes out and one hit kills me. So I've learned my lesson to save at every possible time that I get.
What a weird box.
So that's another antique comb, which is an offering. But what Hinako's kind of saying is those weird marks on there, how they burned up, you only start to get that after your first playthrough. So it's these additional New Game Plus features. Makes the game a little bit different every time you play. Again, just gonna do a quick save because I'm paranoid. You guys are never gonna believe this, but I'm gonna save again. I think that's enough though. I think we can finally move on. So that's another good weapon. Switch to that because I do not have a toolkit right now. I don't want that to break because that's one of my favorite weapons to use in the game. It's probably one of the fastest ones that you can use for the longer weapons. Although the really good thing about the kitchen knife, it is considerably stronger and more deadly. It hurts enemies a lot more than just the standard steel pipe. I typically like a little bit more range though, just to give myself some leeway. Another really good thing about this game is just all the sounds. You really get quite paranoid in this game with all the very small sounds in the background. The sound design is just amazing. So now we finally have that toolkit that I was talking about. Right now I'm just going in and rearranging where I put my items. I've just always had the toolkit in that area, and it makes it easier for when I'm going faster during boss battles. I can kind of just quickly click through the items that I want to. Looking through my map. I do that from time to time just to make sure I didn't miss any areas. There are a lot of secrets in this game.
Shoo, where are you?
Another one of my favorites. It heals a majority of your health. Getting very Last of Us to do. after I grab that baseball bat. I think I'm going to end it here though. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will post part 2 very soon and hope you enjoyed. Bye!